All right. Thank you for tuning in. And thanks to Deanna's suggestion, we're doing a autism awareness video based on our experience with autism.
Yeah, so happy Autism Awareness Month 2026. I'm really passionate about talking about autism, and I think what I really want is just to see everyone like flood the internet, flood the world with autism awareness. And this month is a great month to do it because it's Autism Acceptance, Autism Awareness Month. And I think that a lot of people on the planet are still very weary and wary of autism, or they actually think it's kind of weird, or like they've only understood like really um, strict stereotypes about autism. Um, I know that before um, God had me working with children with autism a few years ago, and before God like revealed to me that I was autistic, I didn't know much about it. I thought it was kind of a really off, or not off, but like this niche thing over here that had nothing to do with me and never would have anything to do with me. Um and but now exploring like knowing coming to know how autism is for me, it's actually like it's not a weird or bad um thing. It's actually really cool and fun. And so I think the more people that share their personal experience and awarenesses, the better, because everyone has like um, just unique perspectives. Um, and I follow a lot of autistic influencers, and I think it's important for everyone to share their experience, whether it's like really high needs autism and the things people kind of try to keep under wraps and hidden from society, and then like high functioning autism. I think the world just needs to see more autism and understand autism so much right now. And so I'm kind of being a honey badger, and I'm like, everyone share about autism. We have to share, we have to talk about autism. And it's because God specifically had me study autism, um, through reading books and working with children with autism years back. And like, it's just so important to consciousness on the planet. My brother who committed suicide was also autistic and didn't know it. God alerted me to that um, 2 years ago. And so yeah, like even talking about the link between autism and suicide is really important too, because a lot of people with autism don't know that it's autism that's part of their stress, and they think they just don't belong on this planet. And so they think they need to leave the planet, but they don't.
Right.
They don't. The world needs to adjust. Like that saying, you be you and the world will adjust. That's yeah. And so I'm super, super passionate about autism. And so that's I'm a honey badger about it. Um, and so yeah, I'm excited to see what we want to talk about in this video.
Yeah, so thank you for your encouragement. So this video is a large part because, Deanna has been encouraging it, but I'm looking forward to this too. I think it's I'm gonna learn a lot actually by sharing my experience. Yeah, it really was a few years ago that God made both of us aware. Invited us to explore,
It was the fall
basically.
of 2022.
Yes. We heard about, other people exploring their autism that you wouldn't think were autistic necessarily, but we really heard God's message for us to explore that for our life as well. This was within the Twin Flame community that people were exploring this.
So hold on, can I say something?
Yeah.
So yeah, so this was an act of God. This is how God works, and I think it's so beautiful. God had Dan and I transition from working as CNAs um, to working with children with autism. And God had us transition to working with children with autism and being special education assistants in the same school district around the exact same time that Jason and Chrissy put out a sermon about their autism in the
Right.
Church of Union.
Mhm.
And um I will never forget that it was such an act of God. Like, I was working with children with autism. That sermon came out, and I had just gone to the library and gotten books on autism because God said, I thought God was like, go to the library and get books about autism so you can help the children you're working with better. But actually, God wanted me to not just be able to do my job better, but to also help myself understand autism. And in particular, I have Asperger's. And the story of how I know that specifically is, I can probably talk about that on my own. I have made a video about that on my own channel. Um, but I just remember being so happy, like when God revealed it. I was just like, one more, like, I don't know.
Well, because ultimately, the more knowledge you have about yourself, the more you can love yourself and serve yourself. The more we've learned about autism, the more we can support ourselves to just be successful. Because you have to, the more you know, the better you can succeed. And so that's why it's helpful when you realize autism is a spectrum. I think a lot of people on like a high functioning spectrum never realize it, so they might never fully support themselves because they don't realize they need that support.
It's also not just about for yourself, um, to better support yourself. It's also so you can better understand other people too, and work environments, and how it shows up in organizations too, and in your family and with your friends, um, with your partner. And like I said, my brother who committed suicide when I was 16, he was 24. God revealed to me that he had autism and wasn't aware of it. And that was one of the things that um, caused his suicidal feelings, because he was living by himself, going to school, working full time, stressed out, and not really aware of why he felt like he really didn't fit into this world. Um, and I think the more we can understand about autism, it we won't just be able to love ourselves better, but also love other people better, and our children and our colleagues and everybody. The whole planet needs to know more about autism ASAP.
So I feel inspired to kind of, if this is a good segue, to share a little bit about how I've come to see it in my life. Um, so, it was something I would have never guessed. Growing up, I was very successful in school, all of that. But I think the whole idea of masking, I can see how that might have been a thing of not, feeling like I can fully be myself. There's a lot of effort to fit in, which I mean, that's not necessarily unique to autism, but certainly I think that was a part of it. And it kind of really came to a head when I, left um, the comfort of my home and stuff, went off to college. And what I noticed, I never really thought about this until I learned about this, but like I never actually held a true, I mean, I did a volunteer job that was full time for a year, but then I never really held a full time job until I was with Deanna. I literally worked part time jobs my whole adult career. I volunteered all the time.
That's what I was talking about. I did on my Autistic Integrity Instagram and YouTube channel. I did a video about this, about body doubling, and why God has had Dan and I work the same jobs. We've worked 9 different jobs together. And even when like we would try to like work different jobs, God would smush us back in the same industry or even the same building, because there's a lot of reasons for that. Like, it's not just autism, but it's also because of body doubling, and how being on the same schedule, working for the same industry, going in at the same time supported both of us in not burning out as much. And so I'm glad you brought that up, because yeah, I made a video about body doubling too.
Yeah, so I think, well, what a tool God gave me in this part of my life where it really was becoming, I think autism was part of the reason it was becoming difficult for me to really function, to be honest, in my life. And so I dove deep into energy work. This was around 2012, and I just like literally did energy work like almost all the time. Um, through like this organization, I think it was called Oneness at the time, and that really what it really was doing was teaching me how to regulate my nervous system because autism is just neurodivergence, and I was literally just having a hard time just functioning, and so I did tons and tons of energy work, which eventually filled me up so that I could feel good functioning in the world. And then, of course, that kind of segued into Twin Flame Ascension School and gaining those tools, which I think further equipped me um, to be able to clear my consciousness. But also, I think I still hadn't really realized I was still having that masking thing. It really wasn't until a few years ago that when I learned I was autistic, I think that I started to learn that process of taking off that mask. And really, I think I've been learning more and more as I just allow myself to be who I am. I really see it becoming a superpower for me because I've done enough spiritual work that what it does is it propels me to be very focused. Like I am a very focused person.
Hyper focused.
I
And that's one of the
mm,
reasons Dan and I, if anyone knows Dan and I, and wonders like, why do you guys like, why are you like always, what is up with you? Like, why are you always like doing the same thing? And like, it's because part of it is like, we're both very focused and serious people. And that it just creates a really like, that's part of it. That's one reason, is like, it creates like, it's just really easy to partner and live together, because I think our autism uh understands
well,
we
it's a language you could say that an energetic language. That's how I would describe it. You know.
it just, you make sense to me. Like I understand.
Yeah, and so I think like
Also, I just want to point out, if you see me like, it's because it's called resting bitch face, my friends, and it's totally normal and okay.
no judgment zone here. But
We don't need
really,
to be like,
no, just be yourself.
I mean, I could be like that.
No, no, please don't. Please just relax and be yourself. Um, so I've learned how to use this as a superpower, and it's the key is you want to always make sure you're taking care of yourself. And I don't spend a lot of time necessarily socializing because that doesn't. I only do what brings me life, and there's a certain level that does, but a lot of it's just diving into my spiritual studies, diving into improving my life and my reality. And people at work, I think it's really subtle, but they'll notice that like I don't engage in a lot of small talk. I'm just
It's
very
really
focused.
hard.
I'm yeah.
Small talk is really hard. I want to like be solving world problems. Like Dan and I, at every industry we've worked at, we would go to work, whether it was working at a restaurant, as CNAs in special education, in sales. We would go to work, we would come home, we would talk about how our workday went and what the company was getting right and what it could improve on. That's like the type of people we are. Like
Mm.
we're like always trying to resolve problems and make things be better. And I do find small talk excruciatingly painful. Sometimes I enjoy it.
Right, with a purpose, like
Like
when God driven
I
kind of
do
thing.
enjoy
Yeah.
small talk if it's about something that makes sense to me, or like I'm learning something new. And I don't want to generalize and say like fuck small talk.
No, no,
Like
of
small
course.
talk has its place. It can be really healing and relaxing. But also I notice my autism will want to like jump over small talk and just be like, so what are we doing about the climate crisis? Or like 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 can we end factory farming today or is it going to take a few more months? Like I said, every industry Dan and I worked in, we would literally we would literally like talk to the supervisors or the heads of the company and be like, we notice this could be better, and we like this is one of our superpowers is we notice what could be better about an organization or industry. And that's kind of where we want to be, is in that zone.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it's really the key to my power is just making sure that I'm taking care of myself, and it's becoming a lot easier now that I've developed that routine. But I think one thing we both learned is like we have to really have a structured life. We have to have boundaries around things that don't feel good. There have been times where if we didn't set proper boundaries to things that were just really dysregulating or inappropriate for us, it could really,
We would be taken down.
yeah,
We
and
would
and
be taken down.
and I've noticed that like, and so I have to like, I've learned how to be firmer at work. Like if things like about really expressing my needs and making sure I'm taking care of myself because, yeah, it's you don't want to reach that burnout stage. Like I've gotten better. I can recover faster, but like you want to take care of yourself because, there's a certain like, it doesn't feel good if, for anybody, but when you're autistic to let yourself get fried or, dysregulated. So, yeah, so that's where learning boundaries, learning how to speak up for your needs and communicate your needs, and to, yeah, just be comfortable with, I don't care if I'm different in this space. I don't care if I'm unique. I deserve to be happy and thriving in this space like everybody else. So I'm going to speak what I need, to really feel good here. And everyone benefits. Like at my current workplace, like, you know, I've had to speak up a few times, and I'm a great asset to this company, and I've realized I've become a great asset in my level of focus and dedication, because that energy really just wants to drive, um, my life or whatever organization I'm a part forward to be better. And so it's a really, now that I've befriended it, I find it to be a really beautiful energy that I just, enjoy. I don't I just see it as something that is a good part of me, but something that I do have to be aware of. And just even one side note, Deanna had invited me to speak of my hair. I've had experiments with different lengths of my hair.
I want to talk. I want him to make a
Specific video about
a
that.
video about his spiritual journey with hair as an autistic male.
So maybe I'll save that
And I
for.
channeled that exact title too, because I just think that that would be a cool video. But
Yeah, and I can say maybe going into depth about it, but in short, I've watched enough. I've watched videos of autistic men in general, and I've seen that it's not across the board, but longer hair can be more common. Part of that I think is because I'm very energy sensitive, but I've experimented enough to realize like my energy system actually requires it. It helps me regulate. Is the short answer. Um, Also, I think the style's nice too, but it's really actually ultimately at the end of the day, it is about it's about taking care of myself and what my, nervous system needs to function optimally. And, uh, these things are not small. Like, um, my nervous system, needs like I need to take care of myself, And when I do, I am such a powerful force. And so I've learned that it's okay to do whatever God asks me to do to um to be in that optimal place. It's worth it. It's worth it. So I think, I mean, that's the bulk of what I wanted to share. Is there anything else that you wanted to? Sorry, I know you're not in the most comfortable chair right now.
um, no, I just really want everyone to flood the internet with autism stuff this month.
And
So if you're
yeah,
watching this, even if you make a 10-second short and hashtag it Autism Awareness Month, Autism Acceptance Month, um, I don't think you understand. I don't think consciousness needs autism awareness so much right now. Um, so,
yeah.
um, I think one thing I want to say is that before God put me into the position of working with children on the spectrum, and before God kind of shoved it in my face that I'm autistic and had me really delve in there, I did have an aversion to the whole subject, and I
Mhm.
didn't really, it wasn't really on my radar much throughout my entire life.
Right.
Like, I didn't really, there were no, like, I didn't, it just wasn't, I wasn't like, you know what I mean? Like, I never thought about it. Like, I just didn't really, um, I didn't really like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm saying, okay, the reason I'm saying this is because I think a lot of people still have an aversion to it
That's something I'm still working
because
through.
they
Yeah.
only have heard about, like, even the term special education makes it seem like really weird.
The full
Um,
spectrum is not always shown.
yeah, I think when people think of autism, they might automatically think of high needs. And people who live with their parents for like their whole life. And while we do need to definitely have everyone sharing about this more and more and more, no matter how high or low your needs are, I think it's cool to also talk about the other aspects of autism. Um, and so, um, yeah, like if you feel like, ooh, I don't really want to touch that topic, um, that's okay. Like, that's kind of how I used to be too. Like, I just didn't, it was not really on my radar at all. Um, but you might be surprised at how relieving it is to learn and study and talk about this. Because
Yeah.
there's so many things it affects every area of your life. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it affects every area of your life. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. It was great to share this with you. Happy Autism Awareness Month. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for joining me. Bye bye.